Hello everyone. So, full disclosure, I'm actually re-recording this part. I actually ended up having a unfortunate bug with the audio of the first attempt of this, mainly from the game. So I wasn't able to... What mainly happened was the voice acting in the game kind of bugged out and didn't play. So it was just kind of me doing what I've done before, which is just kind of like do my own voice acting overwards. But then when I did this again, but also seeing some other people stream it, I realized that I had some kind of bug. So I'm just going to show this over on an alt, not on my main. Also, I do want to clarify that sometimes I just make mistakes. Sometimes I'm just blind when I'm looking at stuff and I just don't see things. So the previous video, I made a number of mistakes when it came to talking about the class changes and such. One of the things I think I said was that Shield of Vengeance was just gone from the Paladin. That's actually not true. It's actually right here. It's actually a choice here between this and Aegis of Protection. I didn't even realize this. I didn't notice it. I think it's partly because I saw the circle here, and I thought this was just another passive. Because usually when you're taking a ability that you can actually activate, it's a square like this, as opposed to, a circle, because that's usually indicating that it's a passive. So I got kind of confused here. So I didn't even realize that was a thing. So my bad. Look, I'll make mistakes. Sometimes when I am making an obvious mistake, I just don't see it. If you're watching, you may end up yelling at the screen like, "It's right there, you moron!" Look, I will fully admit there are times I absolutely do that. So, anyways, since the last part, the first main event of this pre-patch started. Now, when you log in, if you're Horde, it's Thrall. If you're Alliance, it's Jaina, and they say, "There's a vision being seen all across Azeroth, a radiant song that we believe it's a warning, but we are unsure of its meaning. Meet me in Silithus. We must ask Azeroth's speaker what this vision is." So like I said, the voice acting kind of bugged out for me the first time I did this. So I'm just going to show it to you now that it's clearly been patched.
Another vision.
They're growing stronger.
So you can see Jaina's here, Thrall, and Anduin. How you doing, Anduin? You got some, I would joke you've got some facial hair on your chin now, but you've had that for a while, pal. I think about what Anduin's been through, and I'll say this. Of all the gripes and problems that we have with Shadowlands, I think a lot of us agree that one of the good things from Shadowlands is the stuff they did with Anduin. Like the scene during the raid when he breaks free, and we see Varian and Varrock help him kind of break free of that. Like, they did a lot of stuff wrong in Shadowlands, but at least some of the stuff they've done with Anduin, because it's clearly part of his character growth, and the story that I read for you guys is an indication of that, and that brought us to here, where clearly Anduin is still dealing with that. We saw that in the cinematic about this expansion, where he's clearly showing he's still dealing with the PTSD that he has from what happened in Shadowlands, and it's hard to blame him in that regard.
A king is only as noble as the causes he serves.
Hold on.
In the light.
Did I turn the audio down? I did. My bad.
For the Alliance above all.
It seems destiny has brought us all here. They call it the Radiant Song, yet it fills me with dread. What could it be warning us of? I've heard that the King of Stormwind has long been missing. Missing. You put it so nicely. I ran from my kingdom, from the Alliance, from myself. But I was sent this vision for a reason. I can't run. Not from this. So...
You are always welcome in Stormwind.
Miss Proudmore?
A long road lies before us.
Locust Walker told us that the... Oh yeah, this is what she said before. So I'm now going to play for you guys a movie that they played for you at the beginning of this patch event, recapping some events before we continue.
From the moment the Dark Titan Sargeras plunged his colossal blade into our world, crucial events were set in motion. Magni Bronzebeard heard the cries of Azeroth, giving up everything to answer her call.
Since being wounded by the Mad Titan, Azeroth has been crying out in pain.
As her dutiful speaker, he rallied the champions to her aid, and ultimately to confront the return of the old god, N'Zoth. It was during this conflict that Xal'atath, a mysterious entity of the Void, made a deal with N'Zoth, freeing her from the cursed blade that bound her essence within.
Honor our bargain. Free me to find my own fate.
After she vanished into the darkness, N'Zoth was confronted by the mortal champions and destroyed, ending the old god's reign of terror. But they were not the only malevolent force with its eyes set on Azeroth. For soon, the sky was sundered, the Shadowlands split open, and our heroes were pulled into the realm of death itself.
Go, champion! Go!
It was there that Anduin Wrynn endured the worst. Captured, tortured, and through dark domination magics, forced to commit terrible acts against his will.
I'm afraid that if I call on the light, it won't answer.
Scarred and shaken by his experience, he vanished, his whereabouts unknown. After the threat of the Shadowlands had been quelled, the dragons of Azeroth returned to their ancestral homeland. It was here that the primal dragon, Iridikron, broke free of his prison, and in pursuit of vengeance upon the Titans who he felt had stolen our world, he secured an ancient, powerful artifact, the Dark Heart.
When the Titans come to reclaim their prize, I will be waiting.
As word of this new threat started to spread, people began experiencing strange visions. The Radiant Song
is being heard all across Azeroth. The Council doesn't know what to make of it.
It was then that Illyria Windrunner, a deadly huntress who had harnessed the powers of the Void as a weapon against the darkness, was summoned to investigate.
We still don't know what this Dark Heart relic is capable of, but we do know it's in the hands of someone called the Harbinger.
It was not long before Illyria discovered the Harbinger's true identity. Xal'atath, the mysterious figure, was once again on the move. While neither Xal'atath nor the Dark Heart could be found, her mentor, the enigmatic Locust Walker, issued Illyria a dire warning.
The radiant visions you spoke of are the very same my people had before our world was consumed by the Void Lord Dimensius.
Could Xal'atath be seeking that same fate for Azeroth?
You must find a way to stop her. If you cannot, then Azeroth is already doomed.
Dun dun dun. Very trailer-like ending there, but that's basically what it was. Obviously, trying to recap some of the specific things from the last few expansions there. As I mentioned, I think the stuff they did with Anduin was pretty decently well done, especially when it comes to his character growth. Like that little clip where he's talking to Sylvanas saying that he's afraid if he calls on the light it won't answer, which was something he dealt with in the short story. I keep referencing this because, in my opinion, it was probably the best and most crucial and important to know of the stories that they released. Because they say, well, we don't know where he went. Well, if you read the story, you actually do know where he went, at least for a period of time. He basically went here, to Stormsong Valley. And he basically just... as I said in that video when we read that story, he was basically like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Obi-Wan show that they had recently on Disney Plus, where like Obi-Wan at the beginning of that show, they showed he was just some no-name, anonymous nobody who was just working a common everyday job just to get a little bit of wage, just so he can get some food, while he lived out in a cave, just kind of being a hermit. Just kind of like hiding while also keeping an eye on Luke. Now, in this case, Anduin wasn't necessarily keeping an eye on anyone. He was just being a hermit, basically just hiding out, keeping his things hidden away, including the sword that he was afraid to take up again. And then he happens to encounter and be influenced by a friendly family who didn't necessarily care who he was. I mean, this is their king, but they don't know that. But maybe they did, and they just didn't care, because the main man of that family, the head of that family, was just kind of like seeing him as someone who was dealing with something horrible and just needed perhaps a bit of friendly advice or just a bit of help without having their identity brought to attention, where he was like, look, I don't care who you really are. What I see is someone who is dealing with a lot, which is something I do know, I have a history with, and personally am familiar with, and I just want to reach out to you and help you. And I'm not going to give too many more details about it, because I definitely recommend either reading the story yourself or watch my video where I read the story for you, like an audiobook. But it's a nice insight into what was going on internally with Anduin and what he was struggling with and dealing with, even the growth he makes just in that story alone, which leads into this, where now he is here. So, yeah. Now, there's some other stories I said as well. There wasn't a story involving Jaina, but there was a story involving Thrall, and him kind of connecting with his family, his son looking to take up his own... you remember the Heritage Armor questline we did? Well, his son wanted to do that as well. While his daughter is still young and trying to learn these things, and we get a nice little conversation between Thrall and his daughter, just kind of like talking about those things, where he explains these things, which I think is really cool, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more with these characters. Now, there was a story involving Moira and Dagran, but I will let that be a thing later. Whoa!
Another vision. You saw
Whoops.
it too.
Well met. They're growing stronger.
We're all here. Good. Let's find out what the Radiant Song is trying to tell us.
For Azeroth, together.
There's strong evidence that the Radiant Song is a warning from Azeroth herself, a cry for help. That's why we're here. If this vision truly is Azeroth's message, Magni will know what she's trying to tell us. You should be in the Chamber of the Heart. Let's go. By the way, that was Naz Dormu narrating that little movie, in case you're wondering who that was.
Magni has some answers.
I hear no one's seen him for a few years.
He'll be there. He has to be.
Just a reminder, some time has passed, like several years have passed since... So, 5 years took place between Shadowlands and Dragonflight. That doesn't count for the amount of time that also passed in between Legion and BFA and Shadowlands, and then, of course, now Dragonflight to War Within. So, it's been quite a few years since we helped out Magni in BFA.
Magni, we've been trying to
If this is about the visions, I'm nae interested. Leave me alone.
Gonna just mute the music for a bit, since sometimes I can get a little loud.
Its speaker, and so do we.
I'm speaking for no one these days.
Huh.
When the world is healed, may some healing be spent on me. Speak up. I'll press on till Azeroth is done with me. Look, I'm not dead yet.
You can tell with these new lines that something's happened with Magni. He's, sounding kind of bitter, isn't he? I know why you're here. It's the visions. Azeroth's voice heard all across the lands. You thought I would know what she's trying to tell us. Well, you thought wrong.
Always.
I haven't spoken with Azeroth for years. At first I just didn't feel the need. And then I realized I had started to resent her. For leaving me like... this! And now I'm not sure if I can. But I know the stakes. This radiant song of hers foretells something dire. And we need to know what. First, we need to prepare the hot chamber. Can you start up the consoles nearby?
Keep fighting, champion. Speaker of Azeroth. She hasn't been speaking to me. After all I gave, she left me like this. Unable to feel the warmth of my kin's embrace.
It's very easy to sympathize with Magni. Like, at first it seemed like you died, and then turns out you were still alive, but you were now this. But think about what that costs you. Like, yeah, I'm sure there are some benefits to it, but like he said, he doesn't get to feel the warmth of his kin's embrace anymore because he's that now. Now, whether or not Azeroth is able to fix Magni, I'm not entirely sure about that, but it's very easy to understand why Magni would feel this way after some time.
So, let's be clear. I'm doing this for all of you, not for her. For Azeroth.
Notice how he even says that, like, kind of like, for Azeroth. This'll be a struggle. I'm a bit rusty with the whole speaking with the soul of our world thing. But the ritual is prepared, and that's that, I suppose. I'll try speaking with her, though I warn you, champion. It might be for the last time. Are you ready? I'm ready.
Sometimes destiny whispers. Azeroth! Speak to me! What are you trying to tell us? I can hear her voice! I can see it! The place she's calling us to!
Where, Magni? Where must we go?
It's called...
Magni!
He's alive, but barely.
The way forward will not be easy. The Alliance will endure.
This has never happened before. Magni is the Speaker of Azeroth. Why would communing with her cause him to collapse?
We all have our ghosts.
Magni appears stable for now, but he's still not responsive. We need to get him treatment quickly. I'll open a portal to Dalaran. Follow us when you can.
I know what must be done. Hopefully we can revive him. Meet us in Dalaran when you're able.
He tried to commune directly with Azeroth. It seems the strain was too much.
Duh. What have you done to yourself this time?
Excuse me, 1 second. Sorry about that. I actually realized I left Discord open. Oopsie. That was the Lord of the Rings Discord server that I have set up, that they send out alerts when they're putting out a group for certain mounts. So, my bad. Oh, Moira. I'm sorry. But let's just say this also is a nice indicator about what's going on. With them, anyway. Also, hey, the artifacts are actually here. But then again, my paladin did do this stuff, so... Even the, even the Eye of Amanthul is here. I think. Oh, wait, no, it's the thing in the middle of the room. That's right, never mind.
Dromkar.
I don't believe we should blame Azeroth for this outcome. Magni knew the risks of connecting with her with such reluctance in his heart. Now we can only hope that he was able to hear her message in the end.
Let honor guide your path.
Magni will recover. He must. And not just because he's a dear friend. We need to learn what Azeroth told him before it's too late.
I will never forget.
Magni's stable for now, but I don't know how long it will take for him to recover. At least he's with family.
Safe journey to you.
Have you heard anything I need to know?
Father, what have you gotten yourself into this time? You can't leave us like this. Please be alright, you old coot.
We will survive. We always do.
Yeah. Moira and Magni have not had the best of relationships. For those of you who may not know, so back in the day, Magni was a pretty terrible father. He was one of those dwarves who had that old thinking that women were not as important or relevant or such, or that compared to males. He basically wanted a son and he got a daughter, and he was never too happy about that. And yeah, in vanilla, when the whole her joining, getting quote-unquote kidnapped by the Dark Irons happened, he thought she actually was, and he didn't want it to look bad on them and him, so he asked the heroes of the, us, of either the Alliance of the Horde, to go save her from the Dark Irons. So, yeah, let's just say that when we go in there and we kill Dagran, that she's not too happy about it, and she also blames him for it because he asked us to go into there and basically save her, which also caused Dagran to die because we killed him. And she's held it against us ever since, including against Magni. Now, of course, she had a son who for a long time in the game was just a baby, but he's not a baby anymore. But let's just say, you'll see in just a second.
There remains much.
Khadgar, buddy, good to see you.
Troubling times lie ahead, but don't they always? At least we can face them together.
Remain vigilant.
I'm not sure why the Speaker of Azeroth would end up in such a state after attempting to, well, speak with Azeroth. All we can do is wait for Magni to recover.
It is a world of wonder.
You address the Queen Regent of the Dark Irons.
We need to let Bran and my son Dagran know what happened. They're at Dalaran's visitor center. Could you get them for me? Father needs his family right now.
You'll likely find Dagran with his nose in a book. It's why he insisted we come to Dalaran. If you hear it... Now, listen, you old coot. I know you always meant right by me. You didn't know that I chose to stay with the Dark Irons. That Dagran and I were in love. Whatever your intentions were, my husband died. Because of you. I hated you for taking him from me. My anger built a wall neither of us could ever get through. And now, we may never get the chance. But my son, my little Dagran, he needs you. I guess so do I. Loath as I am to admit it, you were never the best father. But you can still be a good granda. So please, wake up.
Gosh, I just want to give Moira a hug and tell her it's going to be okay. She has grown so much, hasn't she? Think about even going back to Cataclysm. There were some of us that still thought she was pretty awful and even evil, that she was clearly plotting behind the scenes and such. Which, let's be honest, she is quite the political manipulator, but gosh, hearing that, and again, as you just heard her say, yeah, they've never had a great relationship, but the fact that she wants him to be part of her son's life as his grandfather, That says quite a bit. They may not be on the best terms, but that doesn't mean she wants him gone before they have a chance to mend things, as she just said. So let's go meet Dagran, shall we? Now, like I said, ever since, like, he wasn't in the game in vanilla because he was like an infant. But in Cataclysm, when you would go to Ironforge, you would see the, Muradin, Falstad, and Moira, and next to Moira was a cradle with a little baby. And for the longest time, he just stayed as a baby. His model never got updated. Until now.
Have you seen these new tomes, Uncle Bran? They must be from Drenton's library.
Say hello to Dagran Thorason II. Now, I mentioned that there was a short story, one of those short stories that they released. One of them was focused on Moira and Dagran here. And based on what I read in that story, I immediately thought I would like Dagran. And, yeah. I think Dagran is actually going to be a pretty awesome character. And I'm really hoping that they are planning on doing some stuff. If you're wondering, I don't think they have any intentions to make him like any kind of Gary Sue or something like that. I don't think they have any intentions to make him like that. They already had that issue with Madon, and they're not going to do that again. At least I hope they don't. They know we don't want any of those kind of Mary Sue type of characters. And just because he is now and you can kind of see this reflected in his skin, that he's kind of that mix between a bronze beard and a dark iron. That doesn't mean he's going to be all of a sudden like this, like, perfect progeny that will be the greatest of them all. No, like, I don't think that's what they're intending here. But I do think he has the makings already to be an interesting, cool character that some of us will like. I don't know how they feel about him in terms of the community, but usually when it comes to WoW players, there'll always be some that love and some that hate, and, well, that's just how it is. Bran!
Inquiring minds just got to know.
Oh, hello there. Are you here to chat with Uncle Bran?
Did you find something? I read about this. Oh, I was just thinking. Another puzzled? I want to see everything. So much to discuss. Speak your piece. Give me something to figure out. So much to discuss. I want to see everything. Make sure to take...
Hey there, champion. Dagger and I were just perusing the local books and whatnot. Lads couldn't be more excited for his first visit to Dalaran. What brings you here? Magni's hurt. Moira needs you both in the portrait room.
Don't do anything.
I hope Granda's alright. I never got to spend much time with him.
Don't worry, lad. Magni's made of stern stuff. Pardon the pun.
Oh, Bronn. Of course, I would also love it if Muradin was here, but I guess Muradin is still having to deal with stuff in Ironforge.
Give me something to figure out.
Granda's been through way worse than this. I know he'll wake up soon. He has to.
On to adventure.
Ugh, Magni really mucked the bud roll with this one, didn't he? Couldn't leave well enough alone. Well, I know that's not really his way. Not when the world is at stake.
Keep your eyes on the horizon.
The mountain lends us its strength.
It's good for us to all be in one room together, even if the reason is so dire. My father hasn't really been a part of Dagran's life, but I mean to change that. You have my word. Thank you.
Mind yourself, champion. We need you.
Let's get to work. Always happy.
It seems that Azeroth has grown agitated? Something must have happened when Magni tried to commune with her. Past events have now come to life once more. I believe they're Azeroth's memories. Memories they may be. These radiant echoes are all too real and could cause serious danger if left unattended.
I ask that you investigate one of them and help however you can.
Be mindful of your duty.
So, this is, at the moment, during this first week, the event for the pre-patch here. Now, you'll notice they actually put some item upgrade and Awakened Crest exchange vendors here, because you can actually be able to get some upgrade, or rather some catch-up gear, as you can see here, 480. And you do that by getting this currency called residual memories, which drop from the things that will be on the other side of that portal. I'll show you in a moment. A lot of it is mainly like, 480 veteran catch-up gear. This is, of course, for alts or in case you have a new main that you want to gear up before the expansion launches. You can also be able to get some pets and a couple of mounts. The Alliance one is a griffin. And you get both for doing it. You can also get some bags if you want. As you can see, I've already gotten these because, well, when this event started, it was rough. These spawns were every hour and a half. When they started, you would take on this big blob, and then it would cause 6 events to happen. You would do the 6 events, which would just take like a couple of minutes, and then a boss in the area you were in would spawn. You would kill that boss, get some currency, and then you'd have to wait an hour and 20 minutes for the next one. I'm serious. That's how bad it was. It was terrible.
Your coin is
well,
always welcome.
Blizzard responded and made it much more frequent and more rewarding. A lot more currency drops from doing this event. And once you take down the boss in the area, the memories just start again, and you can just keep on doing it. So, one of them is in the Searing Gorge, one is in here in the Dustwallow Marshes, and the other one is in Dragon Blight. And the way this would work, one of the other main rewards you would get, I should point out, is this right here. A heirloom ring, the Band of Radiant Echoes. So the way this would work is one of these vendors here, you can see this, the daily here is defeat Onyxia, because Onyxia is the one here in this area, and now it drops 3,000. It used to be 1,500, and they doubled it. You can complete these every day if you want, once a day. So you would get this thing called a Lifeless Stone Ring. It was right here. You purchased for just 25 of these. And then you would do the event, and you would try to get what were called memories of, and it was of that specific zone. So here, if I was collecting the memories here, it would be memories of Kalimdor. You would get 20 of them and then combine them into an essence. Then once you had essence of Kalimdor, Eastern Kingdoms, and Northrend, you would put them into that ring and you would get this heirloom ring, which has haste and mastery, in case you're wondering. And yes, you can of course upgrade it like other heirloom items as well. So that's basically how this event works. These will just keep spawning until this empties out, and then it will spawn the boss. For Dustwallow Marshes, as you can tell, it's Onyxia. In the Searing Gorge, it's Ragnaros. And up here in Dragonblight, it's the Lich King. And you can complete these dailies once a day on your entire warband to get a whole bunch of these residual memories, which you can then be able to use or transfer, because they are transferable currency. You can be able to transfer it to a character and use them just to basically get whatever they want, whether you want certain characters to be able to spend it to get certain catch-up pieces of gear, or to get the pets or the mounts. Like, just doing one of these events during this time, you can easily get over 10,000. And that's basically how the event works. Once the timer expires, it goes on to the next zone. So once it ends here, it would go over here to Dragonblight, and once it ends here, it would go back over here to the Searing Gorge, and so on and so forth. What's funny is that the vendors there are clear references. I forget who the marshal there is supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be a reference to the guy who helps reveal in Stormwind that it's Onyxia. I forget his name, but that's basically who I think it's supposed to be. Here, it's clearly the High Lord of the Argent Crusade, Echo of the Silver Hand. It's obviously Tyrion Fordring.
We shall triumph.
It's even the same voice.
To play.
And he gives you one to defeat the Lich King.
Find the strength within you.
Again, I'm not entirely sure if the one in Dustwallow is the guy, I forget his name, from Vanilla who helps reveal that it's Onyxia instead of Lady Prestor. Now, here in the Searing Gorge, by the way, you'll have some fun little events as well, such as certain bosses from the past. Here in Searing Gorge, it's Memory of a Duke.
I am ready.
Hydraxis. Yeah, the Water Lords, remember them? And of course, defeat Ragnaros. Now, what's funny is that it's the model of old vanilla Ragnaros from Molten Core, but it uses all the voice lines from Ragnaros in the Firelands and Cataclysm, which I just find very amusing. That they were like, okay, let's use his model, but we'll use the voice acting from Firelands, because of course we will. But if we go back to the Dustwallow Marsh, let me show you what some of those memories are kind of referencing, like, quests from the continent that you would probably be familiar with. Like in Dragon Blight, you can face Thorim, and you, of course, you say the "I remember you in the mountains." You'll also hear Fizzlebang, and, of course, Taraxus! Our Lord of the Burning Legion! So, here it's King Mosh, as one example. Gazrilla will be over here. King Mordok will be over here. So even from a distance, you can see some of the big... Oh, there he is, right there. King Mosh. So yeah, it's a you get to face them and get to take them on.
Nostalgia, champion.
Thanks, Khadgar. Now, what's fun is that you can bring some alts here that are not max level, and you can actually get a huge chunk of XP for each of these events. This is not necessarily one of my favorites because King Mosh just keeps constantly casting fears. But then again, that's also something you'll deal with when you go face Onyxia as well, because of course. The fun, of course, also, when you face Onyxia is when people start yelling the funny classic lines from that video about Onyxia. Many Velps! Many Velps! You know. In the Eastern Kingdoms, in the Searing Gorge, you can fight the likes of Stitches. You can fight Hakar. And, of course, the greatest boss of all time in World of Warcraft, Hogger. Alright, so let me go in here and get a bit of a low percentage kill here. And, of course, he immediately casts Fear. So 25 residual memories. No XP, but... you know, that's because I'm max level. But if I wasn't, you would see a chunk of XP awarded to my character. And that's kind of basically what you're doing here. You're basically doing these memories. There's memories of King Gordok. Now he's over here for people to face.
It seems Azeroth has no need for historical records.
Oops. I hit Divine Shield by mistake. Oopsie. So we're getting pretty close. Oh, and now Gazrilla's up. Gazrilla! Uh-huh. Well, Gazrilla's about to go down.
Ah, I remember this one.
And now... it's time for Onyxia. Now, this is where things can get really laggy. Because, as you can see, there are a ton of players here, and Well, they definitely beefed up the health of these bosses, because as you can see, she has a lot of health. And of course she casts fear. Quick, somebody get the dwarf priests out here. We need fear wards. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Some old school players will know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's just say that was the race you had to play as a priest back in the days of vanilla because of that specific thing. Fear ward was a big deal back in the days of vanilla. And it basically made having a dwarf priest, especially for Onyxia, because as you can see, casting fear was a constant issue. So yeah. Oh my gosh, many Velps! Many Velps! More dots! More dots! Left side! Sometimes people will go ahead and just say that in chat during this fight when they see it. Because sometimes we just can't help it. I was here during one encounter with Onyxia, and we started doing that just for funsies. And someone then said, man, we are old. And we were like, yep. Newer players probably would have no idea what we're talking about, but yeah. Also, keep in mind that even Blizzard was fully aware of that because they named the achievement after that. You go take down Onyxia, you get the achievement, more dots! Which just says something about how popular that clip got. That even Blizzard wanted to like pay homage to it when they brought this raid back in Wrath of the Lich King by having the achievements named after that. So yeah, I can get quite laggy, tons of whelps, constant fears here. This is just the Onyxia fight. The Lich King will of course do Defiles, summon, he'll do Remorseless Winter, he'll summon a bunch of Scourge. Ragnaros will summon, like, his fight feels more like the one from Firelands than it does from Vanilla. So you get things such as a piece of this right away, but you can go ahead and put this in your Warband bank if you want. You can even get a champion piece of gear if you want, so it can definitely be worth bringing your mains here to just do this at least once. So this is soulbound to my paladin, but this is not, so I can just go ahead and... Hold on. Let's see. There you are. Go ahead and put that in there. These are a bunch of pages that I got doing an event in the Eastern Kingdoms about the Green Hills of Stranglethorn. I collected them in case I want to go ahead and read these for you guys, but I don't know. Not really sure about it. But that's basically the event here in the pre-patch. Keep in mind I'm re-recording this on Monday, August 5th. It's possible that we may get more content tomorrow. I don't know if we will or not. It's possible, but I honestly don't know. If there is any more content, I don't think it's going to affect necessarily this event in terms of what we were just doing. But I would like for it to be an actual continuation of this right here.
We will defend Azeroth together.
Excellent work. Keep assisting with these Radiant Echoes and see if you can find a common thread. They must be connected somehow.
It is a world of wonder.
So, maybe tomorrow we'll find out more about what's going on with Magni. Will Magni awake? Will he be alright? Will the achievement spams stop? Find out next time!